one-shot job, an Arthur Daily deal, written on the sand, built on a lie. The 1/130 million gap in Sussex and Kent. Where did the taxes actually get spent? 105, section 151. We've served the notice, your time is done. The duty of candour, you lie, you pay. The Hillsborough law is coming your way.
Because we've been very busy.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
what you've been doing, Sean? You can actually
Well, I was trying to
update
work
us a
back.
bit.
I was trying to work back. I know that we had the biggest thing in April at Easter was when we sent the pre-action protocol letters to the. Sorry, we did the pre-action protocol letters first, and then at Easter we sent the notification to the Section 151 officers.
We start in October because this is the same topic that was about the LGR and the election postponement. That's mean the resident across the country. Start in October, and that was challenging the councils about the postponement of the election and the legal footing of the LGR. So then the Reform Party was challenging the government. And then we continue after the pre-action protocol letters, we continue challenging the councils everywhere under the LGR or the ones who are already unitary. We challenge them about the spending of public money because so far as we know from our documents, the kind of spending never was justified by any kind of legal footing. They never provide any answer when we ask them what was the legal base for you to decide that you're going to spend millions of people funds on your idea about the LGR. So we've been challenging the officers, that's what you're talking about in April, because up to April we've sent so many other formal challenges to councils and to chief executives and officers as well. We've been contacting the National Audit Office. We've been in touch with the Lords. We've been in touch with the Parliaments. We've been in touch with the NOC, whatever they call themselves. I am so confused with this, the shortcuts to everyone. But anyway, this is the civic servants in the Parliament as well. And so we've been in touch with all these authorities. Some of them, like the Lords and the shadow ministers, they've been fighting against the LGR, which are important thing. They wasn't the Reform MPs or Reform councillors. They wasn't actually fighting LGR at this point, back months ago.
Yeah, one of them was even a Labour MP, if I remember seeing. Was it Blunkett, wasn't it?
That's Lord, yeah. He's the main. Yeah. He's challenging the format of he's a very decent person, very decent man, and he really wants the power to, should be really handled in the people's hands. People should decide about what is happening with their money, what is happening around them. But it's not working like that. So in principle, he actually supports the devolution as an idea, but not the kind of devolution what we have.
Exactly, because it isn't real devolution anyway, is it? I mean, this is the point.
Not. This is Tony Blair.
Something just to stop as we go along, because it's important to pick up the bits, because so much has happened. So Lord Blunkett did oppose that publicly, because I saw that. But after that, I think Keir Starmer changed the way the whole Lords works now, hasn't he?
He actually changed that before. But
right.
The act was coming later. But he actually starts sorting out the House of Lords much earlier. So he basically removed Lords, the
potential ones that are going to challenge his policies. Yeah,
exactly. and he practically just swapped them for a civic servants. Councillors and gave them the title, and that's important thing. Another thing what we need to say, we said that before, but not every people actually watching this, that a king is just stamping the letter. Okay, he's not deciding who is going to have a title. The person who is deciding who is having the title is the prime minister and the parliament. So the king have nothing to do here, like say, oh, I don't like him, I am not going to give him a title.
It works the other way. It works the other way around, doesn't it? Of course it does. I think most people realise that now.
Let's come to this point, because we served the several challenges, and we came to the point when we of course receiving lots of answers, devastating answers for them. And the most important thing, April, when the bill was passing, the devolution bill was in debate. At the same time, that was the Candour law in debate, was going just along the devolution bill. So the Candour law is it's basically a very good law and very bad law.
This is something to do with the Hillsborough
Yeah,
disaster, isn't it?
it is exactly this one. The
And they're
family
trying,
was
because it's got some very positive parts to it, hasn't it? Of course.
very positive parts. But surprisingly, it just passed now because, everyone could use the law, not only us. And, we have lawyers, we have barristers, and we have regulations to twist the law, as always. But anyway, the bill is really good, and the law is practically putting the authorities under the pressure, and like never before, because before councillors, police, and any other authorities didn't have a really uh, any kind of pressure, legal pressure to answer our questions. At some point, if they decide not to, that will be perfectly legal. But now they have to. So if we ask them for spending, what exactly they spend the money on, and where is the law which allow them to spend public money, they have to answer. And if they don't, if they giving you deflective answer, or if mislead answer, that's actually a serious offense, and even on the edges of crime now. So for a misleading, for a deflecting, and similar things which before wasn't actually that serious, now they could even face 2 years of prison.
So does that come all the way down to the parish council level as a
Yeah.
public
Any
servant?
authorities, yeah, not only
I'll
not
have
only
to be careful.
yeah, you have to be very careful. Yeah, because the law could be
I
so
would be anyway. I
manipulated.
would be anyway, of course.
But anyway, and so all the stuff what you see, if we start this case now, it could be easily twisted. But because we start challenging the councils and the government a long time ago, nearly
Before,
years
yeah.
ago, and it was ongoing challenge, and we collect so many evidence which actually prove the deflection, the avoidance of answering a question, and many more. Because we have that, it's like an ongoing case, so the law doesn't work could you say this word?
Retrospectively.
Thank you.
I'm just going
Retrospectively.
to, if you don't mind pausing you there, because I know that probably a lot of people will be watching and thinking, well, we've had a lot so far. Does it mean that because we've got the evidence before the new Candour law was passed, we can use elements of the new law?
Yeah, we're doing, because it's a new law. So now we actually using the new law, not the old one, because the law was updated.
But we're taking them to their account now with the new law, but using the previous evidence before the law was passed. That's the bit I just wanted to get clear.
Not only previous, you know what we've done? We just come into the PAP any minute. We served the PAP a few days ago on 19. We served
This is the
PAP.
one to Steve Reed, right?
Yeah, so it's not only old evidence, because originally from hundreds of evidence, of course, we have to choose the most important quotes. So we put the list of 127 3 days ago. This is the original letter which went to the ministers. Since then, because we have to share this and inform the MPs, we have to inform the councils that we serve this to the ministers. Since then, I'm receiving so many replies from people. And again, I just thought, no, we leave the 127 because they are solid, and we just keep them for a court case, all the others, yeah. But I just can't ignore some. I can't. So they're growing. So now that was 127 a few days ago, and now it's 131, because I can simply, I just have to put this in, because we're still
people know that something's not right, don't they? And they don't know how to start. We're being deflected by all these fake opposition everywhere, that people can't get past all that. I said earlier, didn't I, that I went out to a meeting the other night and spoke to a local councillor, and they're still in this divisional thing about fighting over you know, like the water, we're going to come onto the water, aren't we?
Yeah.
The council said, oh, we've gone to meet the water companies. And I thought, oh, I bet you are, because you're the planning authority.
Yeah, exactly.
Paste that over and let no one find out about what's going on there. But I know we're going to come onto that. So sorry.
We will. So yeah. So we actually, have that many evidence. So we're using all this old evidence and the new evidence for the court case eventually.
Okay. So we can put direct accountability is even more severe now than.
It's massive. It's massive
And
because
that
this
can go
exactly
against us as well, of course, because it can be used, I guess, within what they're trying to roll out with digital ID and.
digitality. Very interesting point because that's another
Yeah.
massive. I don't think we can fit everything today because
No, I understand, but just to give people an idea about, you know, I spoke to you about the recognition cameras that are going up everywhere, and you said
digital
they've been
ID.
using them for years, but they're just now allowed to, kind of thing.
I give it one example because that's a summarize what digital ID is. Okay, so
Yeah,
I'm going on the Kent example because it's just superb example and it's a scandal. It's a massive scandal that is going to be covered in Kent local news
that we did a press
probably
release.
today.
Yeah, great.
So it's West Sussex, Birmingham, which actually bankrupt
Yeah,
because of that, because of the
yeah,
digital ID. And now Kent. So the reform is running Kent for a year now, yeah?
yeah.
The Conservative made some contract with Oracle. Oracle is the IT company, which is the global company. So it is Oracle Cloud, okay?
This was in 2023, wasn't it? As I was reading
Yeah.
the documents, yeah.
So they make the contract and they put people for years and years forward to be under this contract, okay? But that was like how can I actually explain this? That was like something what need to have a button to push. Okay,
Ah, so they're preparing it,
they preparing.
but
So
spending the money. They spent the money.
yeah, they spend the money on preparation and the small kind of activity
Yeah,
because the big activity of the digital ID is under the LGR
right.
because they need the structure of the LGR to actually go with the full contract and upload all this stuff about people from the NHS, from the police, from the supermarkets, from whatever you do, to upload to the Oracle Cloud. So they
And
need different structure in the council to allow that.
this is where all the linking. This is why all the linking comes together. So
Yeah.
your council, the county council used to be in charge of roads, and the borough council or district council is in charge of housing, but now it's all coming together so that we can link it. I got it.
Yeah. Yeah. So the Reform Party went there, and what they done? They pushed the button.
Right.
And the pushing the button costs another 35 millions, if I am correct.
Wow. So Oracle get their payout as soon as the button's pressed.
Yeah. And all this information now, and that's whatever is going to this big cloud, that is your digital ID, not this little card.
So as a Kent resident, just sorry to cut in, but as a Kent resident, why didn't I know about this?
Exactly, that's my question. Because everything is in the open. Why people you don't know about this? Because Kent resident and all the residents are so distracted by fear. Like we got a war. Oh, we're going to be attacked by planes and bombs and everything else and many other stuff. But that's the most important thing. This is your digital ID. And when we have a petitions, and I know people are so worried about this, and they're doing petition because that's what they think they can do. They don't really understand that. And when we're doing the petition to the government, please don't do the digital ID. The government doesn't even need the law. They already done it under the LGR. They don't need the law.
I was just thinking of a quick example there about people being concerned about their fuel prices, for example, because you can see what's happened there. They elevated it and then dropped it. Oh, we're heroes now, but didn't drop it as much as it was before. But people don't realise that, they're worrying about the price of the fuel because of some war miles away. But in the future, when your digital ID is all set in, I know we wasn't going to talk about this so much, but, you're going to have a certain amount you'll be allowed to have.
Well, I said this so many times. It's no different than, without technology, they've done the same in Poland, they've done the same in Russia, they've done the same in any communist country before, without digital ID, without, because you've been, you had some kind of bonuses in your workplace, and you've been allowed to go for holiday, or you wasn't. So
Yeah,
this is very much like a social points. So let's go back to the pushing the
yeah,
button.
yeah.
When the Reform Party took over Kent and now West Sussex and somewhere else, let's focus on Kent. They didn't revise the contract. They didn't stop the contract. They knew what it is, the Oracle Cloud, but they pushed the button. So they actually expand this. They went for the LGR, and they actually expand the collaboration with the Oracle, and with massive cost of people taxes. Of course, we pay for that. So you see, that's the digital ID which is happening in Kent now, and it's shocking. And now it's the same happening in the West Sussex. What I'm talking about Birmingham, because Birmingham is a great example how the Oracle contract actually, and the devolution, the whole city, how it destroyed them and put them in the bankruptcy now. But that's the digital ID. All this information is coming from your council now in their contracts, not the little card. So begging the government at this point about not, pushing the digital ID or not, we wouldn't really achieve anything. We have to stop the LGR, stop the councils doing what they're
Because
doing.
LGR is the key to unlock it. Yes, of course it is. Now you say it like that, it makes so much sense.
Yeah, because any kind of contract, what they're doing. Look, you have a contract with the, let's say, corner shop. Yeah, the council have a contract with the corner shop saying, look, you're going to sell goods to people, and we're going to give you discount. Blah blah blah. This is our contract, and we have this nice local corner shop, and then the council decide, we don't want you anymore. We're going to have a contract with massive global corner shop. And because we're benefiting of that, because we're going to have several of these corner shops everywhere, and we're going to have some kind of benefits from that. So, but it's conditioned there, because this global corner shop is saying, I'm going to do this only if people will pay by card and never use cash. And the council is saying, great, done it. So our corner shop is bankrupting, and we have a global corner shops, and we no longer could use the cash. And it's not the government who is doing this, it's the council. So that's exactly the same with the digital ID.
That's such a clear, easy, understandable way, because obviously the council's in charge of the licensing and the rent for the building or whatever. Yeah, I understand.
And what we've been saying before, what everyone ignore us, and the enterprise.
Yes. Yeah.
Especially now under the LGR, because they deciding the contracting, and nobody is asked. And now, why the LGR is so important for them? Because it's no opposition, it's not scrutiny anymore. People can't influence that. Under the new structure, people can't influence that. You have a selective boards, community boards, what we talked so many times about. And we as a people, we can't really challenge their decision anymore. So they can make the contracts whatever they want, really. And that's your digital ID.
We won't get too much into it. It's really interesting, as you say it, with the local corner shop, because the local corner shop will be dictating to their customers how much you have to pay, how you're going to pay.
What is healthy.
If you need to wear a mask or so I'm just jumping into a few, ideas there about, Okay.
And with the regulation, I especially said healthy, because people are so not aware what is happening in the parliament. We have the recent regulation, I think in March, about the health. So people realizing that I'm sure everyone did, that so many products is just disappearing from the shelving in the supermarket. So many all the time. Because this is the new health regulation. What is healthy, what you're supposed to eat, and what you.
That's interesting. There's been some announcements this week about setting pricing, isn't there, for certain butter loss leaders? I heard quite a little bit on the radio about that.
Yeah.
That's obviously connected. I could see there's a connection there.
That is connected. That is nothing to do with any kind of shortage and petrol shortage. This is all lies. We have the bill passed, we have the regulation about the healthy food now, and they actually going to decide what we're eating, and they doing this now. They doing this openly. That was in the parliament, is already a regulation. So, some producer, for example, I'm using for a long time, I'm using the Coffee Mate, the white powder
Yeah.
milk. And was fantastic. For years I've been using this, and then oh, this is very unhealthy. So we now going to put massive taxes on the producer, or the producer have to do what we're going to tell them. So the new version, what is the healthy version, is so expensive to produce. So the producers stopping doing this because it's not beneficial anymore. They
Not
can't really
viable
make
to
a
make
yeah.
coffee mate
Yeah.
anymore. Oh wow.
So that was just an example, okay? And the list of the products now is a long, long list. So that affect every single producer, small producer mainly, because global producer will produce healthy stuff, which will, will be under the
Wow.
new regulation. So they destroying our market completely, completely.
What the danger is with that as well is from an actual real health perspective is that certain things could be going into that food that aren't probably very good for us, and then that creates more of a health crisis, doesn't it? Anyway,
Yeah.
should we get on to some good news? If there is any.
The good news is the PAP, is it?
No,
So
that's what I mean. So we're going to get back to that to tell everyone what we're doing.
the good news is every single issue what we're talking about, and we want to talk about water, we want to talk about the LTN, we want to talk about 5G, we want to talk about everything what people struggle with. Yeah, we want to talk
Yeah,
about the pension. The pension is another thing with the digital ID. So the good news is our pre-action protocol letter includes all.
brilliant, fantastic.
So we challenge the government at the moment about all these regulations, how they was implemented, because all the regulation was implemented under the LGR. Normally, in this case, if we have that many evidence against somebody, they probably will end up in prison. But we sent the pre-action protocol letter to them on 19, and that includes everything. They have 14 days, which is going to be 2nd of June to reply to our to just defend themselves. And I can see what's going to happen because they already did this, and we go back to the Candour law. They already blaming completely the councils and the officers for
So
decision making.
turning it back to the authorities, local
Yeah,
authorities, and specifically the officers.
because the officers are in charge for a legal side of any decision making. They actually have to approve any kind of decision making that it's legal. It's okay with law. And we have officers who reply to us that no, they never actually have any kind of legal base, which is extremely honest, and yeah, it's in the evidence pack. And then we have an officer who said that the money what was spent, you can't recover them. You can't. It's impossible. So the officers actually said that, and this officers signed the paper. So I'm just thinking, wow. So if you're admitting that, that's mean you actually have something more on the ministers themselves, because
Interesting.
to admit that, because most of them is trying to deflect the answers, which itself is evidence under the new law, because deflection is serious now. So most of the officers, but we have a few who actually did reply to the question, and they actually admit about the lack of legal footing for the spending millions of
When you're saying this as well, and I'm just always, when we try and do these podcasts, I always try and think of the first person to watch them and how they're trying to understand how everything works. And even maybe this is my early perception, but it always seemed there was so much harmony between the authorities. You start at the low level and you work your way up to ministers and government, but you can just see that they're just, as you've just already said, they're willing to throw each other under the bus, like just to cover their own ego or.
especially now, because as I said, it's serious now. It really is serious. Before they felt untouchable. They was just practically they was just supporting each other back. and they
Yeah,
could just play ping pong with people. Under this law, they can't, they really can't, because it's a personal responsibility of each person involved. So it's not like when we challenge them, we're not challenging them as a part of the institution, we're challenging them as personal responsibility for.
exactly. And I think that where they got trapped into these jobs, and we've talked before about, we might jump onto the minister that's just resigned recently. She obviously went through the whole university, being taught how this is the global to local way of working and circular economies and all this stuff they get taught now. So they're in that world, and I get from what I pick up from questioning the council is that the officers are a completely different. They don't even want to talk to residents. It's not even on their. We're just numbers in some ways.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So,
absolutely. And
yeah,
some of the legal teams from the council, they were so patronizing months ago, not anymore, but months ago, that was so patronizing, so rude, for the from
mm,
the
how
they
dare
respond.
you?
Yeah,
How
how dare
dare
you
you?
even question me? And they was accusing people about some. I don't even go to. But anyway, we sent we sent the fraction protocol letter. As I said, they're supposed to reply on the 2nd of June. So that's a positive side. The negative
Yeah,
side is what everyone is so afraid of. It's, oh no, let's not do it because they are so massive, and
yeah.
because obviously it's the question of money there. So whenever we do any kind of challenge, we can't win because of the cost.
Mm,
Wrong, because this is like a civic action. This is people from all across the country. This is taxpayers asking the government, what the hell you spent my money on?
great. What a
So
good
that's
question.
so that is the question. And actually having a government using people money again to defend the fact that they spend people money, you know in any kind of logical brain, it's not right. So what
Mm,
what is there actually in similar kind of situation, you call this capping. When you apply for the not apply, but if you're serving the PAP and then planning to go to the court, you request the capping. So that is the maximum cost. And because it is a civic action, as I said, it's not action. It's not campaign. It's not action. This is like a civic audit, civic national audit.
we're putting them on notice, aren't we? Essentially, that's
Yeah,
kind of what we know what you've been doing, and you need to, you know,
yeah. You need to answer the question. You need to justify what you've been doing. That is the thing. Justify what you've been doing, because that was no consent on any of the parts of the LGR, any on the digital ID, on the developments, another thing, developments, water, whatever. The thing what is missing there is the people involvement, and everything
yeah.
is sold to people as people needs, and
And
people lead.
evidence
Yeah,
of a need,
yeah.
evidence of need. Like I jumped back into the climate thing before because no emissions data was taken before emergency was declared. That's a prime example, isn't it? But I now know that they needed the climate emergency so they could build the sustainable housing, and then we'll come onto the water in a minute.
And the connection, who actually is benefiting on that, and who is contradicting their own official beliefs and official speeches.
Yeah,
There are people who are actually directly involved in benefiting from the stuff what they claim to be against. So that's
yeah,
another story.
yeah.
Yeah, so about the capping, so that's the situation of the civic, just the residents who are in. We've got the list signed now by councillors and from across the country, and we have people involved, just ordinary residents. People are obviously, some are in some parties, others are not in the political parties, others are, as I said, councillors, others are not business people. So we have a just normal, average, everyday person signing the pro- production protocol letter at the moment.
That sounds like
This
That sounds like real diversity to me.
it is a real diversity, because we are all affected, but
Yeah,
that's the people who realize we are. That's the people who realize we are affected, and the reason why they realize, because at some point, after some of the stuff what we've been explaining, some people decide to send a letter which we advise to send. And people, person after person, they start to receive the replies. And when they start to receive the replies, they saw themselves what is going on. So anyone who is involved in this doesn't need me or doesn't need anyone else to explain, because everyone involved in this audit received the answer, and they have this black on white. So and this is a pattern across the country. So the legal footing is missing. It's missing. It's not there. And as I said, it's not me. It's not you. It's hundreds or thousands of people receiving the same answer. It's the lack of data, the lack of legal footing. So that's all is in the in the pub. So forget the ridiculous local challenges, which I was talking before, the reform done against the postponement. And that
It's
was the
funny how
time.
that also fits in with the local press, doesn't it? Because the local press are part of it as well, where we've managed to find some really good outlets that are actually printing our investigation. So we've got to say thank you to them. That's amazing, really, the way it's.
Yeah.
So we'll link that in, shall we, somewhere, one of them.
Yeah, we did with the video. But I just wanted to explain this because the PAP, what was done by reform wasn't done. That was going to do that. The PAP, what they was talking about in the beginning of the year, they issued the PAP to the ministers. And look at this completely lack of any kind of logic here. The time when they issued this to the ministers didn't have a power over decision making. The bill didn't pass then at all.
Right.
So that was the time to challenge the local authorities, not the ministers. And even the court then told the Reform Party, go to the councils, challenge the councils, send the PAP to the councils. If you
because
remember
the
the
ministers
story.
haven't done anything that far, have they yet? Nothing's been passed, I see, where the officers have been spending and stamping documents before the law had passed. I get it. That's so clear. Yes.
So that's why we've been challenging the council about the postponement of the elections, not the ministers. And we also challenge about different postponement of the election, because the reforms want mayors. We don't. We did it. So we
Because
actually
back to Jim McGovern, he owned not Jim McGovern. Is it Jim McGovern? Jim
McMahon.
Jim McMahon. Sorry, yeah. He only invited the councils to reorganise, didn't he? That is in
statute. Yeah, so this is in, his letters are in. But the fact that they challenged the ministers at the time when the ministers really didn't have a power over decision making. So now they do have a power over decision making. It's completely the other way around. So you can see. So what they do
is that just for the press though? Is that just to say that we're doing something?
Yeah, but also this is like a battle. Who is going to run the LGR?
Ah, yes, because at the Kent level,
exactly,
they want their own version of LGR. Of course, they do.
They want their own version everywhere. The Kent is aggressive. That's the worst, as you said, and but they do have their LGR. They already spent so much money on this before the bill, and they press the button with the Oracle as well. So they doing the worst version of the LGR. So that's exactly what they do. If you see any kind of letter, what they actually publishing now, you can see what they saying. We don't agree. We challenge with this government, local.
So it's all about the wording. You have to look at the wording rather than what the action presumes to be. Yeah, that's important.
So I am not criticizing them. I don't care what they do. I'm trying to put this, the big line. What is the difference between our PAP and their PAP? Because our PAP is a national audit. Our PAP based on facts, on the evidence which people was collecting over past 2 years or even more. So our PAP is questioned all local government organization, the lack of any kind of legal footing to actually start this year ago. So that's our PAP covers multiply counties. We have a people who represent county by county by county by county who collected evidence there, and we just put them together. And it's like, look, this is not about your local boundaries. This is not like, your local little area. You're going to do this 5 or 6 council or 10 council or 1.
I'm sorry to cut in, but there's a great line that you used in one of your press releases and posts on the Substack was, this isn't about bins and boundaries. I thought that was fantastic.
Because that's exactly what they're fighting about. This is exactly what they're fighting about. It's not anymore. It's not the local issue. It's not. It's a national issue. Very serious national issue. And let's remind people about this official, because it's much more, official 113 millions missing error. The government admit the error of 113 million pounds in the LGR.
The king didn't mention that in his speech, did he?
I don't think he did. But he didn't have to. He didn't have to. They prepared the speech anyway. He didn't have to.
Yeah,
but who's supposed to? But you know who should do something about that? The officers.
Yeah.
The moment when the government is saying this is error of 113 millions, they should revise all this program from the beginning and say, that's it, stop. We're not going to spend any more money.
Wow, that's called transparency, isn't it?
Yeah. But they haven't. They continue. And we challenge them about this. What are you doing? Are you not seeing anything wrong with that? No. We have this answer. We don't see anything wrong with that, with the 113 million pounds error.
Because it's not theirs. It's not theirs.
It's a public money, so we're going to spend another few hundred millions because the government, obviously, is not worried, so we're not worried. But now we have the PAP, so I hope they all worry now. Because people seeing what is going on, it's not going to be gaslighted anymore with some, word salad. And
okay, so just to wrap up a little bit then, because we were going to speak about water, wasn't we? But do you want to get into that? So
carry on. You are very well informed.
Well, I just want to see it. I just wanted to see it from my perspective. Is that all the water companies are to blame. That we have to fire the CEOs, and they've done all these terrible things. And I'm sure they have sent quite a lot of their profits to bonuses, but what I can see at the level of challenging at the council level is that it's pretty obvious that far too many houses are being built.
That's the issue.
And that is, and that is, so, yeah. And when I saw the post, as I said, I saw a lovely picture of the councillors meeting the water companies. Look at what we're doing, but what you should be doing is stopping building houses. And then from reading about the fertility rate as well, we spoke about this before, but there isn't people to go into the houses. So again, we have to question who the houses are for. And then, as you know as well, the immigration is part of LGR as well, is it not? I don't know if you want to say a little bit about that.
It is, yeah. Because you again, they're trying to shut you down, because if you use the word immigration, that's when you hate people. No, it's nothing to do with that. That's a statistics, facts, and documents we have, and question they answer because we ask. So, if they base on any kind of regulation, just show us that you actually fulfilling everything what is requested under particular regulation. So we have the standard methods, and they always excuse everything with the standard methods, because the government standard methods, I don't care how many residents living in this village is only 3, but we need about 3,000 houses because this is standard methods. So that's exactly the point. If you're just logically thinking about this, hold on, we have 100 people living in the village, and now they're building 5,000 houses. What the hell is going on? And that's the standard method. So, because that's what's happening.
No, but the thing is I think what we're also identifying is that the lack of logic is because they're stuck in these institutions and getting all these bonuses, and they don't even think about it. It's not. I think it's the classic thing, isn't it? About I was told by a councillor recently that I had racist rhetoric just for asking a question, quite a decent legal question about immigration. You know, and the classic turnaround is would you want all these people living next door to you in your village? You know, that's the classic thing. And again, people that are coming here, they're not the enemy, are they? Essentially, but they're being used to change
Absolutely.
everything about our country,
Yeah.
and you
They've
know,
been promised,
lose.
they're catching them on the streets, like, oh, please come to the UK. You're going to have a
Mm,
lots of this and that and that. So obviously, if they see this amazing life, that the government is going to give them a free house and free food and free clothes and some kind of privileges, who would never go
exactly,
for that? This is
exactly.
tempting. So it's nobody's fault that they coming with the hopes for an amazing life, but they are not. We are all being victimized because they're going to end up in some small shoeboxes as well themselves.
Well, your
And
recent post also tapped into. Sorry, we've jumped from water to housing again, but you tapped into the sharing accommodation kind of. Yeah, that looks very scary.
that exists. That is not scary. That is already exists, and they're
Mm.
promoting this. It's just unbelievable, studio flats and with shared kitchen, and
And
you
I
have
can
some,
see it. I can see it. Yeah.
yeah. But that's exactly what they do. So that's not better life for anyone. They just putting everyone in the prison practically.
Mm,
So about the immigration, yes, that's exactly the question to ask. What about the immigration? You're building the houses for immigration, not, and that's an important question because the regulation clearly said local needs,
local
local,
needs. Yeah, yeah.
and that's exactly, I'm going back to my 100 houses because local needs. We have 100 people in this village. We don't need 5,000 houses. Yeah,
So we
that
don't
is
need
not.
to destroy the country. We don't need to destroy the land. We don't need to take that farm away. We don't need extra water.
Yeah, yeah.
Because there isn't anyone to live there.
Yeah, and it's not going to be because the population is on decline, massive decline. This
Mm,
is
mm,
statistics. So you can't do projection on the base of the statistics because the standard methods are based on the projection. Okay, this is important to actually go to the immigration. So standard method based on the projection on the statistics. The statistics now showing dramatic, decline in the population.
mm,
Its goal now at the moment just went under really proper red line.
mm,
So you can't possibly project that we need 5,000 houses in the village of 100, yeah, 100 people. You can't possibly project that. But if you include immigration, then you can project that. So then you mean I'm going to have a contract with some global company because they offering me money. So we can spend this money on so many things. So I'm going to have a contract with this company to build 5,000 houses because we can rent the houses. We're going to make some profit on them, or we can sell them. We can make profit on them. Regardless, we only have 100 people in the village because if we do that, what can I do? What can I do under the regulation? I know I'm going to get some immigration and put these people there,
And does
and
it
then that will
over
be.
long term? It helps destroy the old houses as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So that it
And
then
that's under
takes
the
away.
climate, yeah, and the climate emergency as well. So that's why we ask the question, and this is legal question. This is perfectly lawful question. We ask the ministers the question: do you separate the settlement from the standard method, the local needs, or not? So we have the answer: we don't. So that's mean the immigration is included in the standard methods, but that is not a local needs. And straight away, if this includes the settlement, you can't base on the standard methods as justification for destroying the green belts, for building 5,000 houses outside your window. You can't. And with the lack of data with the residency, that's all the same thing. You just can't do it. It's not justified under the baseline is not there. It's not justified under the local need because this is not local need. This is a council need. Council need for money. That's not what people need. That's what council need to justify the spending. So that's why they or justify the contract. So That's how they're using the method, standard method. But that's not a law. It's not a law, and as I said, it doesn't justify the decision.
Right. So we've covered the housing, we've done the water, we've done the pack.
I just want to say with the water that the water company are under massive pressure from the government, massive pressure under the climate and all this fake housing emergency, and
Rivers and
people so easily buying this, like everything else, just barking on the wrong tree, because the rivers are contaminated with lies. Okay, they are full of the dirty lies. And as we said, the standard methods is not justification for a dirty water, and that's exactly how the water become dirty, because they building the houses with nobody need, and then they trying to create a problem and telling people that we need infrastructure, and the infrastructure bill, surprise surprise, by coincidence, just pass long before that. Yeah, so now we create this because we still have the opposition on the green belts and etc., and we still have the regulation that even the minister, if he want to stamp this over, he still need to justify his decision. So how to do this? Let's make people demand infrastructure. So people now demanding infrastructure because the water is dirty. It's not going, it shouldn't be like that. People should demand the documents, who is allowed to make the water dirty, because the water are getting dirty because of the lack of infrastructure for this amount of housing. That's the problem, and the housing don't have a legal justification, don't have a baseline. So people losing their jobs in the water companies. The water companies will be taken by the globalists, like everything else. And again, who is going to do? Who is doing this? We're doing this. We're doing this because we're listening to them instead of looking in the papers and read the small print. We're helping them.
Great.
Yeah.
Do you want to wrap up there? Any more?
I think we don't have a time today, but that was a lot of information, and I will try to. I think the Kent News is going to do some article about water as well, so
Yeah.
that will be more.
Yeah.
And I will try to publish article about the water with proper documents and some other stuff which people could actually look at. And I really hope it's an eye opener.
We can't live without water, can we? So it's it's a really important.
That's what. Yeah, really. Trust me, you can. Because if we live in this communal, nice, luxurious apartment, they will be.
Sharing.
Yeah, they will be deciding when you have a water.
Worse, yeah.
Even if the water is clean, it doesn't guarantee you're going to have it. Especially if you just pass this to some globalist, climate crazy companies.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you're a naughty boy or girl as well,
Yeah. You're going to have a one shower per week. That was suggested. That was already suggested that we shouldn't wash our clothes.
Yeah, of course. Well, all the climate.
I went to Wales. As you know, we went to Wales for the conference in September, and we had a one towel in the room of two. So when I asked the manager why we have a one towel, he said people sharing towels, and I said no way. And he said, this is sustainable. People sharing towels.
Sustainable, yeah, fantastic. Yeah. Sustainable for who? Should we leave it there?
For the hotel, yeah. So anyway, nice to talk to you, and we will come back with some more. I hope people watching. It's boring. It is boring stuff. We're not bringing some kind of, symbols what the council is quietly drawing on the back of their buildings. We're just talking facts. And what we need people to now, because we have 14 days, please support the resident audit, because we need the funds. We need to, as I said, the capping, what we're going to ask for, it's still some kind of payment. They definitely will be trying to intimidate us, scare us with the money. So we need at least 5,000-10,000 to secure ourselves that we go to court and we have the money there to pay in case if we lose, which we're not going to lose, if people get together. So I'm going to put the link to the fundraising, to the civic fundraising, and hope that people will support as well, because you're not paying to us, you're paying to for yourself. It's your
For sure.
challenge, every
Yeah.
single person challenge.
Yeah. And just for everybody out there, I mean, stuff is really boring, but it's very important, isn't it? Because they've made it boring so that we don't want to get involved in it, I guess.
Exactly. Boring,
Yeah.
complicated, word
Yeah,
salad
exactly.
and
Administrative.
and titles,
Yeah.
authorities.
Yeah. Okay. Nice to see you.
Okay, very nice to talk to you.
Bye.
Bye.